Turtle. I'm going to learn facts about Ohio.
Did you know that Ohio was conscripted into the United States on March 17th, 1803?
I see the bicentennial stuff written on all the different farms.
Bicentennial stuff all over. Everybody knows 2003, 1803.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get to that here at the end because it's such a crazy story. So when Ohio was becoming established, even before then, there's settlers coming up from the east. And, after the war, everything, we got America, we're going to go west. And then that's when the Ohio country was starting to be settled.
Wait, as a trek to the west?
As a trek to the west. In fact, between Tennessee, near Tennessee, have you heard of the Cumberland Gap?
I've heard of it before.
So did you know that an asteroid or a meteoroid wrecked into the Appalachian Mountain, causing a gap, which caused a traverse? Yeah.
Ah.
Any
link to dinosaurs?
Possibly.
So is that the only asteroid in the United States?
It's. I think there's also one in Arizona, but that's another story.
Okay.
But
all right, man.
But anyway, so when settlers were coming in, most of the Ohio territory was swampland. And did you know Ohio actually got its name, Ohio, from a Native American word for Great River?
No. Okay.
Or Great River, Little River, whatever. But yes, it's based on a Native American language. But anyway, so when Ohio settlers from the eastern side of the United States were settling in, they started hunkering down. So Ohio was very swampy. So they had to chop all that trees down to make settlement possible.
So are you saying a lot of towns may just be built on a bunch of trees?
A bunch of trees, a bunch of swamp.
Really?
Yeah.
See, because I always thought of Louisiana as swampland kind of thing. Ohio started out as a swamp.
Well, have you heard of the Black Swamp?
No.
That's Ohio. And if you look on the flag, because another interesting thing about Ohio is that we're one of two countries, if you want to call Ohio a country. And again, I'll get to that later.
It's apparently not.
But Nepal is not a rectangular shape, as well as Ohio. It's the only two flags in the whole world that have non-rectangular flags.
But do they even fly the flags in a world setting?
They do. Well, not Ohio, but maybe.
The United States. So
yes,
Nepal's the only thing showing up at the UN with
exactly.
a weird shape.
But Turtle, if you look at the flag and you see that big old O-looking thing on the left, that's also represents Ohio, the O of Ohio. It's like a Buckeye, what a Buckeye nut looks like, as well as supposed to represent the Black Swamp, because it was just such a massive swamp.
The Black Swamp.
I'm dead serious.
Big
Look it up.
Block O that we got is the Black Swamp.
The Black Swamp.
I think I'm gonna start calling the football team that. People are going to get mad at me. No, you don't even know, man. You know that big O you got? That's called the Black Swamp.
The Black Swamp, Ohio.
I know it's red, but
Black Swamp University. But in all seriousness, though, even Lima, Ohio gets its name in that time period, too, because Lima, again, was swampland. So they had to, chop trees down, and people were getting malaria. So the only malaria drug available was from Lima, Peru. And what better way to honor Lima, Peru if calling it Lima, Ohio? English, of course, but...
Whoa, so it's just an import town.
It's an import town from a malaria
medicine.
drug. A medicine drug, yeah.
You never think about that, especially with it being landlocked.
I know, right? I know, right?
Okay.
So here, let me go discuss this further. So as Ohio is starting to make its settlement, make its establishment, and I believe...
What years are we looking at for this?
I'm saying 1803 to 1815 to 20, some more of that time span. Okay. Essentially when Michigan Territory was becoming a state itself. Have you ever heard of the Michigan-Ohio Wars?
I have not. I'm thinking that's going to be another episode.
Actually, it's very quick. It's very quick. So the Ohio-Michigan War was a dispute on territories for the Toledo. So Michigan said that they wanted, like, that's their territory. Ohio said, no, that's our territory because it's, we want an extra port. So the state of Ohio actually sent troops to the Toledo area as well as Michigan, and they were actually firing at each other. But there was no injuries because it was foggy, so they missed each other. So
they're just very bad shots. So did they show up with the current flag?
No, but what's funny about this story, this little hidden gem, there was only one injury with this whole conflict, and that was actually when
whoa. Was it a pig?
That's another story of West Virginia, Kentucky.
Okay,
right?
Okay.
Right?
So, it's not a pig. There's a Canadian one with a pig, too. What was it?
I don't know. But anyway, so it was just 2 state representatives. So you got the Michigan state representative.
Whoa, what got shot?
Well, nobody got shot, but the only injury was this. So the Buckeye, like the Ohio congressman or senator or whomever was at this like treaty signing of like the dispute, and this Michigan representative, they were arguing. They demanded this this land of Toledo. So the United States like, we're going to give to Ohio. So the only injury was from an Ohio senator stabbing a pen through the hand of the Michigan representative. That was the only injury.
Whoa!
Yeah, I'm dead serious.
Did he get tried for that, or like straight through?
Straight through.
Ooh.
Jesus moment, right?
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, dead serious. So
he stabbed him through the hand, and Ohio got Toledo.
But because
I need to know who this senator and/or House guy was. That is
crazy, right?
That is amazing.
That's crazy. But in the dispute, yes, Ohio got the Toledo territory, and because Michigans are just little whiny people, so they got the Upper Peninsula, and that was the trade deal.
So Ohio gave Michigan all of its extra land.
Well, let's just put it that way. Sure, why not? Why not? I think the United States had something to do with it, but let's just say it's like Ohio, you just stabbed that senator right in the hand.
Michigan got stabbed through the hand, and instead of Toledo, they just got a bunch of weird stuff coming up the top that nobody ever remembers. That's pretty much what
you're
happened,
absolutely right.
The guy got stabbed.
You're
in the
absolutely
hand.
right. So anyways, yeah. So that's how Ohio became a thing, and I think like when we move forward with Ohio, like the Ohio State Michigan like dispute with the football team.
Well, it's because a dude got stabbed through the hand.
You're absolutely right. It stems from there. Turtle. It stems from there.
It's to the point where our sport ball teams are just fighting each other and they don't even. So, a dude got stabbed in the hand,
like boom,
through, and nothing ever came from it.
Yeah.
So anybody that doesn't know why Ohio State hates Michigan, apparently
that's where the story begins. That's literally where it begins, and that's right around when Michigan started becoming an actual state, signed into the Constitution,
so a
and
lot
the Union.
Of the story really includes Michigan. It sounds like.
Yeah, well, not really. So moving forward with Ohio, like, there was some great, in the early 1800s, there wasn't really too much going on. A lot of people were just, settling, developing, Columbus, metropolitan. Chillicothe was actually the original state capital until they moved it to Columbus because people couldn't pronunciate Chillicothe.
Makes sense. A lot of people here still can't.
I can't even spell it, actually, to be honest with you. But I mean, just think about it, though. Like, also, I believe Jefferson was president, and that was also in the 1800s, is like early 1800s as well. Lewis and Clark expedition, I believe, is like early 1800s. But
so while everybody else was heading out west, a lot of people were hanging out in Ohio and figuring out how to turn this swamp, where somebody just got stabbed in the hand, into like normal places to build houses.
Normal place. It's the best place to settle, in my opinion.
Yeah, the weather's great, but I guess they wouldn't realize that yet.
But yeah, so they moved the state capital from Chillicothe to Columbus to be more centralized in the state, because that's a Jeffersonian idea. And if you look,
Columbus is
dead center.
Very dead center. I've noticed that about a lot of other states, especially growing up. Yeah,
it's funny.
Columbus just dead center, and so many capitals are.
And no, you're absolutely right. Well, if you think about it, with Thomas Jefferson wanting to have state capitals in the center of Ohio, every single state west of us, their state majority of them our center of the state. Think about that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, think
okay.
about that. It was before us. That's when things were all over the place. But everything west of us, like Indianapolis is in the center, Springfield, Illinois is in the center, and moving forward. But
Gotcha.
Anywho.
I got to assume a lot of people hung out here because it was pretty mild temperature. All around, like, Ohio's really not that bad.
It's not. It's a great place to live. Taxes are decent.
So
people are friendly.
Yeah.
People are friendly
all year round.
And
Okay.
with Columbus, we're actually the 13th largest city in the nation.
I thought it was up there. I know that.
And we're in the top 15. But no, like moving forward, like the Civil War. So we moved to the Civil War, right?
Okay.
So Civil War, bad, just straight up bad. Ohio had the third most Union troops who signed up to fight the war of the whole United States.
Okay.
We actually did you know we actually have a battlefield in southern Ohio? It's my bad. It's a Morgan raid. So these Confederate hillbillies comes up and just terrorizes the Ohio River border area. So there's like conflict. So Buffington Island is the only battlefield of the Civil War that took place in Ohio. And I think it was like casualties of like maybe 200-300, but it's like only a 1,500 man. It wasn't that big.
They got pretty far up though.
Yeah, I know. It was so. Yes, there was conflict here, and also Ohio was such a vital importance to the war that majority of the top generals that Turtle, give me. I just want to know how much you know. Name some generals of the Civil War right now that you know, and I'll let you know if they're from Ohio or not.
Not a one, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So the more important, like the top generals of the Civil War were Ohioan. Grant.
Well, so it kind of makes sense to me because they were heading to D.C., right? Like, where?
Oh, you're talking about the Sherman Raiders?
Well, I'm talking about the Confederate Army when they're moving in. Where are they headed? Where's their end goal?
So
Is
the
it
Sherman
D.C.?
No, actually, it wasn't.
Okay.
So the Morgan Raiders, their main goal essentially was just to. Okay, I know I'm kind of going off topic, but just think of it like Sherman's raid down. Sherman was a general who's also from Ohio,
Which I didn't know.
but but he went through Atlanta and just went Sherman's March to the Sea all the way to Savannah, just
Well, but you're
burning
talking
down.
south.
Yeah, I'm just saying what
Yeah.
these people did in the North. They
Yeah.
just trying to.
Well, that's what I was wondering. If the Confederate Army, if they're heading east, that made a lot of sense that Ohio is a great spot, and especially with so many people signing up, so you can just dispatch out of there.
That could very well be. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm assuming that the Morgan Raiders were just they weren't. They're more of a militia type of
The Morgan
army.
Raiders is going north to south. That's Union, right?
Morgan Raiders are the
were
Confederates.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
and they're the ones who's going from the Ohio River Valley down to Indiana. So they're kind of like Indiana, Ohio,
they're
Cincinnati
going west.
region. Yeah,
They're going
and
west,
their
okay.
main goal was just. I mean, again, they were just more of a militia. So they're not an actual organized army.
Yeah.
They're just there to essentially just piss Ohio off, to make some more resources rather than focus on the war effort. So that's kind of the idea.
So they were off to the side. Yeah. Sounds
Yeah,
like
they were
everybody
just the
was going
south.
east.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
The east and west, but that's a different topic. I love the Civil War,
We get on those.
but yeah, some famous generals from Ohio is General Grant, General Sherman, my man Buford, all those top generals. But all those top generals are from Ohio. And have you heard of Custer? Custer's Last Stand.
I have heard of Custer.
He's also from Ohio, and he was actually at the signing when Lee surrendered to the Union Army of Grant, who was an Ohioan.
Wait, you said we surrendered?
No, Lee.
Lee
General
surrendered.
Lee, yes.
All right, cool. I thought I forgot some. Okay.
But anyways, so, and not only that, did you know that Ohio's also had 8 presidents? 9, possibly? It's kind of 50-50.
And we got a lot of astronauts, too.
A lot of astronauts, yeah. Who are they? I mean, I know obviously
John Glenn.
yes.
I know that one. I
Neil
don't
Armstrong.
know any of my generals, nothing. But I got John Glenn because we named an airport after him.
But yeah, I mean, Ohio, we had a lot of astronauts. And, Ohio was the first, we had the Wright brothers who made the first flight. They were born and raised in Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah, and then they gave all the credit to North Carolina.
Yeah, because that's where that's where they flew it. But
North Carolina.
Yeah, exactly.
What else you got?
But no, Ohio's been great. It's a great state. It has a lot of history.
After the Civil War, where are we looking at?
So after the Civil War, I mean, it's just basic Ohio. One of the main routes is Dixie Highway, which that's the only, at the time, Route 40, Dixie Highway, was going from the east all the way to the west. So you can technically take Route 40. It'll start in Maryland and end in California, I believe.
Still,
yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it was one of the old, and another interesting, but yeah. So it's a very, very populous state, and moving forward, after the Civil War, most of the stuff in the 1870s was just more focused on the West, the Wild West. I mean, Ohio, I assume.
So Ohio's just hanging out.
Ohio's just
getting stronger.
Ohio's hanging out, getting stronger,
making astronauts,
making
generals, apparently,
making generals,
and presidents.
Yeah. But yeah, and World War II, Ohio, we produced a lot of the aircraft carriers and all that. Or no, I'm sorry, not aircraft carriers, the B-17 bombers. They were manufactured. Well, they were all manufactured in the United States. But
I thought those were. It was Ford. I thought he was in Michigan.
What?
The bombers. Ford built a lot of bombers, right?
Yeah, Ford, but there's also a lot of plants in Ohio from Ford. And
Okay.
So there's a lot of stuff that was manufactured. But again, it's equally to the other states too. But did you know this? Not to condone violence and carnage, but the person who flew the first atomic bomb, from the Enola Gay.
Yeah.
He's also from Ohio. He was an Ohio State graduate.
Yeah, I actually. No, my grandfather knew him.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no kidding. I think he's got a signed flight plan or something like that from him.
Are you kidding me? You got to dig that up. I'm really curious to seeing this.
But yeah. So again, Ohio makes a lot of good people.
A lot of good people.
Well, good, bad, whatever you want to say. Okay. All right. Dropping the atomic bomb's kind of a thing.
But yeah,
Ohio
it
makes
happened.
a lot of, I'm assuming, very educated people.
Very educated. Sense. I mean, we're here. We're having this podcast, discussing this right now, right? Yeah. But get this, and this is our tie-in from the beginning about 1803 with the signing of Ohio, right?
Yeah.
So
when the dude got stabbed.
When the guy got stabbed. Well, anyways, so 2003 is the 200-year anniversary of Ohio, right?
Mm-hmm.
So during our bicentennial, we were digging up old documents, and guess what happened?
There was blood all over the documents?
No.
There was a hole in it?
So they pulled up essentially the document ratifying Ohio as a state. Come to find out, the United States never stamped it. So from 1803 to 2003, Ohio technically was never signed onto the United States.
There wasn't a notary there to hit it.
No.
A dude got stabbed through the hand. They went to the hospital and turned that paperwork in. That's what happened.
They're like, we don't want to touch this. But I'm dead serious.
I'm still super curious what the dude said. Is there a hole in it?
I don't know. We should go down. If you guys listening want to do some research.
If anybody has ever seen the document that makes Ohio, can you tell me if there's blood in a hole? Oh my goodness. 200 years and we're
200
still
years and we had no idea.
Yeah. We're still mad about that dude who.
The United States is we're not going to deal with this. Let's just move them on.
Yeah,
we don't want to touch
crazy.
these guys. They're crazy. They'll stab you in the hand.
Whatever they said happened. So the question is, on the other side, was Michigan the same way?
No, Michigan was signed when they signed them, but Ohio wasn't. They just forgot. So all this time
So
from
hopefully
18.
he stabbed his left hand. He was right-handed.
So just think about it. Just think about it, Turtle Man. Just like since 1803 to 2003, Ohio was not. It's like Pretoria from Family Guy.
Yeah.
Like that's what it was. Like they were not a state. So in theory, you can say that Ohio was its own country for 200 years.
And I was there for it.
That's
why Ohio feels so much different.
but to end, with all what happened. But what they did though, they stamped it when they discovered it, and they backdated to March 1st, 18 or March 17th, 1803.
Somebody there was alive in 1803. It's cool.
So my question to you and everybody listening: Would you consider Ohio for a time being its own country? I don't know. Thoughts?
I think it's more of a void.
A void.
It sounds like, because I think the United States had all of this area, but that was just a void in it.
It's like some sort of
Wasn't
territory,
necessarily
random.
signed, and nobody checked the paperwork. Nobody.
For 200 years, because they were like, "I'm not touching him. I'm not touching it."
Yeah, it's covered in blood. I'm not touching that thing.
But I think that's a wrap. That's all that I can think about Ohio.
So, Ohio had a bunch of smart people. We stabbed somebody through the hand.
Stabbed him.
And as a result, we
became
were in an actual state for 200 years.
The more you know.
ZTOTV podcasts. Don't forget your mother's teeth.